Hold me tight. The wounded alien warrior craved a human's touch. The crash. The meteor shower wasn't supposed to hit Earth's atmosphere for another 3 days. Dr. Elena Cross had been monitoring the celestial event from her remote research station on the Oregon coast, preparing her equipment to study its effects on marine bioluminescence. But when a blazing object streaked across the midnight sky and crashed into the surf just beyond the rocky outcrop, she knew this was no ordinary space debris. The impact sent a tower of steam rising into the darkness. Elena grabbed her emergency kit and scrambled down the familiar path, her flashlight beam cutting through the mist. Years of solitary research had made her cautious but curious, a dangerous combination that had her approaching the crater in the sand before common sense could intervene. What she found stole her breath away. Half submerged in the tide pool lay a figure in damaged armor that seemed to shimmer between silver and deep purple. The being was humanoid, but distinctly other. Skin with an iridescent quality that caught the moonlight, facial features both familiar and alien. Dark blood seeped from a gash across his chest where the armor had been torn away. "Please," the word came out in accented English, surprising her. His eyes, a striking violet color, fixed on hers with desperate intelligence. Help. Elena's medical training overrode her shock. She dropped to her knees beside him, hands already reaching for the wound. The moment her fingers touched his skin, a jolt ran through her, not painful but overwhelming, like suddenly seeing colors that had never existed before. Images flashed through her mind, vast cities beneath triple suns, ships that sailed between stars, and this being, Theron, she somehow knew his name, standing proud in ceremonial armor. He gasped at the contact too, his hand catching yours. "You can. Feel it?" "What's happening?" Elena whispered, but she didn't pull away. His skin was fever hot, and she could sense his life force ebbing with each labored breath. Neural compatibility. He managed, his accent making the clinical words sound almost musical. "Rare, even among my own people. Please, I'm dying." Elena made her choice in that instant. "Can you walk if I help you?" Together they struggled to his feet, his weight against her solid and real, despite everything impossible about this moment. As they stumbled toward her station, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that her isolated, carefully ordered world had just shattered, and that she wouldn't want it any other way.
Hidden sanctuary. Elena's research station had never felt smaller. Theron sat on her medical cot, his damaged armor removed to reveal more of that fascinating iridescent skin. She worked methodically, cleaning and treating his wounds while trying to ignore how her hands tingled every time they made contact. "Your government will search for me," he said, watching her with those extraordinary eyes. The crash was not subtle. "This place isn't on any official records," Elena replied, applying a synthetic skin patch she hoped would work on his physiology. "I chose it specifically to avoid oversight for my research. We have maybe 2 days before anyone thinks to check here." Theron studied her face. "Why do you help me? Your people fear what they don't understand. Maybe I understand more than you think." She met his gaze steadily. "When we touched, I saw things. Your world, Kyriath. It's dying, isn't it?" His expression shifted to surprise, then something softer. "The neural link shares more than I expected. Yes, our sun is failing. I came here searching for an ancient beacon, a device our ancestors hid on various worlds. It contains technology that could restore our star." Elena finished bandaging his chest, hyper-aware of his breathing, the way his muscles moved beneath that unique skin. "And you came alone?" "The journey is dangerous. We've lost many scouts. I volunteered because..." He paused, seeming to choose his words carefully. "Because I had nothing binding me to Kyriath. No family unit, no bonded partner." The loneliness in his voice resonated with Elena's own isolation. She'd chosen this remote existence after her fiancé's death 3 years ago, throwing herself into work to avoid the emptiness. "I understand," she said softly, then stood abruptly, needing distance from the intimacy building between them. "You should rest. Your body needs time to heal." But Theron caught her wrist gently, and that electric connection sparked again. This time she saw herself through his eyes, the determined set of her jaw, the kindness she tried to hide behind professional detachment, and, surprisingly, the way her presence seemed to glow in his perception. "Olena," he said her name like it was something precious. "Among my people, this connection, it's considered a gift. I've never experienced it before." She should have pulled away, should have maintained boundaries. Instead, she found herself turning back, drawn by a force stronger than gravity. "Neither have I."
The hunt. The scanner's urgent beeping shattered their third dawn together. Elena rushed to her equipment, Theron close behind, moving with renewed strength. On the screen, 3 helicopters approached from the mainland. "Government signature," she confirmed, already grabbing essential supplies. "We have maybe 15 minutes." Theron had learned enough about Earth technology to understand the threat. "I've endangered you. I should surrender myself." "Don't you dare!" Elena spun to face him, surprised by her own vehemence. "We're in this together now." They fled through the back entrance she'd always considered her emergency escape route, plunging into the dense coastal forest. Behind them, the rhythmic thrum of helicopters grew louder. Elena led them along paths she'd mapped during years of solitary hikes, her hand clasped in Theron's as they navigated fallen logs and hidden ravines. The neural connection had grown stronger over their days together. Now, even through their joined hands, she could sense his emotions. Determination mixed with something warmer every time he looked at her. They stopped to rest in a grove of ancient cedars as dusk fell, the helicopter sounds finally fading. Elena was pressed against a massive trunk, Theron's body shielding hers as he scanned for threats. The proximity was intoxicating. "You should have let me go," he murmured, his breath warm against her ear. "Your life was peaceful before—" "Empty," she corrected, looking up at him. "My life was empty, Theron, safe and predictable and completely empty." His hand cupped her face, thumb tracing her cheekbone with reverent wonder. "Elena, what I feel for you, on my world, we call it the star bond. It's said to happen once in a lifetime, if at all." The space between them evaporated. Their first kiss was tentative, a question asked and answered in the same breath. Elena's hands tangled in his hair, surprisingly soft, with subtle shifts in color like an aurora. The neural link exploded with shared sensation, each feeling what the other felt in an overwhelming feedback loop of desire and tenderness. When they finally broke apart, gasping, the stars had emerged overhead, Earth's constellations, and, visible only to them through their connection, the memory of Kyriath's triple suns. "Whatever happens," he whispered against her lips, "this moment exists across all possible futures." Elena pulled him close again, pouring all her unspoken promises into another kiss as the night embraced them.
Depths of trust. The underwater cave system had been Elena's secret for years, discovered during a deep diving expedition and never reported. Now it became their refuge. The bioluminescent organism she'd been studying painted the walls in sheets of blue-green light, creating an otherworldly sanctuary that seemed to bridge their two worlds. "It's beautiful," Theron breathed, his skin picking up and reflecting the organic light in mesmerizing patterns, like the crystal caves of Kyriath's third moon. Elena secured their waterproof supplies, then turned to find him watching her with an intensity that made her pulse race. 3 days of running had stripped away all pretense between them. Here, in this hidden place beneath the Earth's surface, they were just two beings who had found each other across impossible odds. "Show me," she said softly. Through the link. Show me your world. Theron approached slowly, giving her time to change her mind. When she didn't, he placed his hands on either side of her face, and their foreheads touched. The connection blazed to life, stronger than ever. She saw Kyriath in its glory, cities that sang with harmonic frequencies, gardens that floated through clouds, his people's art that existed in dimensions her human mind could barely grasp. But more than that, she felt his memories, his childhood wonder at his first stellar flight, his dedication to becoming a guardian, the aching loneliness that had driven him to volunteer for what many considered a suicide mission. "Now you," he whispered. Elena opened herself to him, sharing her passion for the ocean's mysteries, the pain of loss that had driven her into isolation, the walls she'd built that he'd somehow walked through as if they were mist. She showed him Earth's beauty through her eyes, the migration of whales she documented, the secret language of dolphins, the way sunlight looked, filtering through water. When the sharing ended, they were both trembling. Theron's hand slid down to her waist, pulling her against him. "Elena, I need to tell you something about the beacon." "Later," she breathed, rising on her toes to capture his mouth with hers. "Everything else can wait until later." Their joining was inevitable as the tide, passionate yet tender, enhanced by their neural link until they couldn't tell where one ended and the other began. In the bioluminescent glow, they created their own constellation, mapping each other with desperate devotion, knowing their time was running out but refusing to let fear diminish this perfect moment.
Choice of worlds. "I found it," Elena announced, her voice mixing triumph and dread. She pointed to her oceanographic data, overlaid with the stellar coordinates Theron had shared through their link. "The beacon! It's in the Mariana Trench, dormant inside what everyone thinks is a volcanic formation." Theron studied the data, his expression torn. They'd been in the caves for 2 days, and government search patterns were closing in. "With your submersible technology, I could retrieve it, but Elena..." He took her hands, the link flooding with his anguish. "Activating it means opening a portal home. My people need this technology immediately." "I know." She'd already seen it in his mind, his duty, his planet's desperate situation. "And you have to go. Come with me." The words burst from him with desperate intensity. "The neural link we share, my people would celebrate it. You could continue your research on new worlds, new oceans." Elena's heart shattered and soared simultaneously. "Theron, Earth is my home. My work here..." Alarm screamed through her equipment. Military boats had found the cave entrance. "We're out of time," Theron said grimly. "They'll destroy the beacon rather than let me have it." Elena made her choice in a heartbeat. "Not if we get there first." They dove together, using her equipment and his enhanced physiology to reach depths that would kill an unprotected human. The beacon responded to Theron's touch, rising from its camouflage in a sphere of impossible light. But as they surfaced, military vessels surrounded them. "Dr. Cross, surrender the alien technology." Elena looked at Theron, then at the beacon pulsing between them. Through their link, she felt his resignation. He would sacrifice himself to protect her. But she had a different idea. "The beacon doesn't just open one portal," she said, her scientific mind racing through the possibilities she'd seen in his memories. "It creates a stable bridge, doesn't it?" Understanding dawned in Theron's violet eyes. A permanent connection between worlds. Together, they activated the beacon. The portal that opened wasn't a departure, it was a doorway. Through it, Elena could see Karioth's triple suns and Earth's blue oceans, existing side by side. "A choice that isn't a choice," Theron murmured, as military boats circled uncertainly. "Both worlds, whenever we wish." Elena kissed him as the portal stabilized, knowing their love had just changed everything. They would be ambassadors,
Researchers, lovers who belonged to two worlds and each other. The stars had never seemed closer. The end.